Straight ahead on Valley News Live at 10, our investigation reveals new information on a Fargo superintendent recommending firing an English teacher. We'll break down what he's accused of doing.
Plus, the changes you'll see next time you visit the Red River Zoo as they're working to protect their animals against bird flu.
And a new report provides a stinging analysis of the police response to the civil unrest following George Floyd's murder. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, everyone. A Valley News Live investigation is revealing new information tonight. A Fargo South High School English teacher is facing potentially being fired, accused of inappropriate behavior with students.
Our investigation uncovered this isn't the first time the school district has gotten complaints about Kevin Kennedy. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling joins us now live in studio to break down the findings. Aaron.
Thanks, guys. Kennedy has had 4 memorandums opened up against him. I just wanted to walk you through the timeline here. The first memorandum was in January 2019. The documents say here that the complaints were over a FERPA violation for talking about a student's grades to others and for telling a student that they would work at McDonald's forever. Then in November 2019, Kennedy was given a written warning after someone complained about him calling out a student in front of others, asking if they had ADHD. The warning also referenced the previous complaints and said investigations found both claims to be accurate. The third time came about just 6 months ago, in October, when Kennedy was accused of inappropriately touching a student by giving them a back massage. In that letter, Principal Todd Bursch wrote, "Based on the nature of the parental concern, I remind you to be very aware of physical boundary expectations as an instructor." Well, this brings us to March 10th. The school district received a complaint about Kennedy crossing boundaries with students, creating an uncomfortable learning environment. According to the school district report, Kennedy admitted to asking a student whether they had taken and sent nude photos and whether they were virgins. The superintendent recommended firing Kennedy. The Fargo School Board is meeting to discuss the investigation into Kennedy and disciplinary measures on Tuesday. Kennedy is also a part of Trollwood Performing Arts School. Trollwood said to me that his participation in the program is subject to what happens on Tuesday. Stacy?
All right, thanks, Aaron. You can read more of that story right on our website, valleynewslive.com.
Now to the forecast and another chance to see the northern lights tonight. This you're seeing here is time lapse from UND's Aurora Camp of last night's display. Lots of pretty colors there. Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson gives us a look at where we might be able to catch those same types of lights tonight. Hutch.
Yeah, wow, what a show it was last night, and you sent so many awesome photos. Thanks to each and every one of you that not only took the time to go out there and brave the cold that took hold, but you sent in some dandies. What a treat in the skies over the valley last night. Thanks, Nick, for your photo. Now, take a look at this. We have a lot more clear skies than we did last night. First and foremost, the valley and points east have cleared out. It was socked in Southern Valley and points east last night. So many of the pictures you saw were from Grand Forks and points north and west of there. Now, we have clouds to the west. They're moving this way, so there will be passing clouds, particularly as we get into the later overnight hours. But this area right here, as I get my pencil out and circle it, more hours of clear the farther east you go. So a better chance here in the valley and points east of having at least a few hours to enjoy the northern light viewing. Temperatures are dipping close to the teens there in the Detroit Lakes area. Make sure. Couple of things to keep in mind. I've put together for you for those viewing tips. Number one, get away from city lights. Try not to have any lights between you and the northern horizon if you can. So if you go south of Fargo, that's maybe not as good as going north of town. That'll give you a better view, more crisp colors, more vibrant colors, and take that jacket along because you know what? It's a little less than balmy out there. We'll have hour-by-hour details in your forecast. We'll look at where those clouds out to the west are heading and have that weekend outlook here in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
New for you at 10, a North Fargo home suffered major damage tonight after a fire. That fire was called in at 805 28th Street North around 5 this evening. Fire crews were still on the scene nearly 4 hours later. Media outlets are reporting everyone is safe and no one was home at the time.
Also new tonight, a fight today at Breckenridge High School sent the school into a soft lockdown. Happened around 1 this afternoon. The Wilkin County Sheriff's Office tells us multiple students were involved, adding the staff did have the situation under control by the time they arrived. No serious injuries were reported. That case is still under investigation right now. It's unknown if there will be any charges filed against students.
The resurgence of the bird flu has infected birds in at least 25 states. North Dakota just confirmed the first case yesterday, while Minnesota found 5 cases just this last week. In addition to farmers and hunters, the bird flu is also impacting zoos.
Today, Valley News Team's Alex Larson spoke to the Red River Zoo to learn what they're doing to adapt to this year's aggressive outbreak.
Bird exhibits at the zoo may look a little different this year.
They're all off exhibit, and they most likely will be off exhibit for the entirety of the summer season here.
And that's because all of the 32 birds at the zoo are susceptible to bird flu. But the staff has been monitoring it since December to help protect their collection.
We have an HPAI management plan that has multiple steps, and we've kind of increased our biosecurity, as well as we're making modifications to exhibits and anything we can do to protect our animals within our collection, as well as discourage wild animals from coming on the property.
They're asking visitors to not feed wild birds while there. All the ponds have been drained to keep wild birds from nesting on the property, and they're taking some other steps as well.
The metallic pinwheels are something that frighten wild birds and kind of will help to keep them away. As well, we have these 3D eagle kites that'll be up on poles. So the eagles are a predator to these other birds, hopefully to keep the other birds away.
There's going to be modifications to some exhibits, like different netting around enclosures, while others just won't be open this year.
They're off exhibit, but they are on property. So in addition to all of the exhibit spaces, we have behind the scenes spaces for all of our animals.
Some already have indoor areas in their exhibits, like the chickens.
You'll still be able to see them, but they just won't be outside.
Since the birds are on site, the staff is able to closely monitor their health.
We're only allowing certain staff in those areas. We've increased the PPP for staff, so we're not bringing in potential zoonotic diseases from one exhibit to another. And we've really increased our surveillance of those animals just to make sure that they are safe and healthy.
Jacobson says the zoo wants to keep the ones out in their exhibits right now as long as possible.
It is something that I think that we will probably deal with in the future over and over again. So we're also assessing our current exhibits and what modifications, permanent modifications we want to make so that we won't have to pull them all off exhibit again in the future.
In Fargo, Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
And zoo officials say it's still up in the air when the birds will go back to their outdoor exhibits, but say they'll be inside again at least through summer.
A Grand Forks woman is accused of attempting to murder her father after police say she stabbed him during an argument. It happened just after 3 yesterday afternoon in the 100 block of Conklin Avenue near Riverside Park. Police say 56-year-old Cian Reese stabbed her 82-year-old father, Hugh Reese, and then herself during an argument about a phone. Reese is now in the Grand Forks County Jail on charges of attempted murder. Her dad is in the hospital in stable condition. Anyone with more information is asked to call Grand Forks Police.
A new report offers a stinging analysis of Minnesota police and their response to civil unrest following George Floyd's murder. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety released a report conducted by a third party yesterday. The report notes how vigils and peaceful protests in the wake of Floyd's murder evolved into violence within just 24 hours. It accuses police of using heavy-handed and violent tactics, being unresponsive to community needs, and responding slowly or not at all to crisis situations. Researchers say local first responders were either too overwhelmed or couldn't safely assess those who really needed the help. Among the key recommendations made, researchers said police need to strengthen multi-agency coordination systems, improve relationships with local jurisdictions and media, and lead efforts to address tension between police and the community members. Today is Transgender Day of Visibility, and the Biden administration marked the day with a series of steps advocating for a more inclusive government.
Michael George has the story.
Amy Schneider's winning streak on Jeopardy made her the show's first transgender champion and brought an invitation to the White House.
I'm just really honored to be here and really grateful that this is being celebrated and that the trans people are being celebrated in a place like this.
The visit came as the Biden administration marked Transgender Day of Visibility.
You're so brave. You belong, and we have your back.
The White House says as of April 11th, U.S. passport applications will accept X as a gender marker, and that it's making it easier for trans people to change the gender on their Social Security records.
These are sweeping reforms that will make it just so much easier to go about your daily life as a transgender American.
We're also talking about visibility. Why is visibility important to the trans community?
Visibility is so important because we've lived in the shadows for so long. There's so much discrimination in society that a lot of us have felt scared to come out.
The Transgender Day of Visibility is designed to promote inclusiveness and raise awareness about discrimination. Last year, the community faced unprecedented violence. But in Florida, advocates say a new law will make discrimination worse. The measure bars instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity through 3rd grade and has triggered protests around the country.
It will be upsetting and it will be so difficult, especially for younger queer people.
In a show of support, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services said it would be the first agency to fly a trans pride flag. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Today, a lesbian rights group filed a lawsuit to overturn Florida's Don't Say Gay law.
Still ahead tonight, hear what a senator from North Dakota is saying about his meeting with the current Supreme Court nominee.
And we have clear skies. Last night, a few of you with the clear skies caught views like this. When we have a strong aurora, we get some of the more vibrant colors other than the emerald green. We saw oranges, reds, yellows out there. Could we have a repeat performance tonight? Your hour-by-hour forecast is coming up next, and here's a look at today's highs across the area.